We're joined from central London by Caroline Kisco of the Kennel Club. Thank you for joining us on Sky News this afternoon. Dangerous dogs. We have categories for them. Any dog can be dangerous, can't they?
Of course they can. The dog has a mouthful of teeth and it will use them if it feels threatened or for other reasons, obviously.
So what do you do if you have a new baby in the house to protect that child?
The most important thing that anybody should do is not ever to leave a dog, particularly a large and powerful dog, available with a baby there or a small child, a toddler. And I don't just mean being completely unsupervised, but actually at any time where the dog could reach the child if it became distressed or disturbed in some way.
What might happen for a dog to become distressed when there is a child around?
I think in many cases these sort of incidents happen simply because the dog has no previous knowledge of a human baby. Particularly in the case of a rescue dog, a dog that's been brought into the household, nobody knows its background, whether it's used to children and so on, and it's all very strange. The baby starts crying and the dog sees that as a sign of distress in the baby and doesn't associate that automatically with a human being. It's just a little bundle of crying energy.
Yeah, and potentially a weakness, and the animal presumably doesn't know what to do.
No, the animal doesn't know what to do, and as I say, that's whether or not there's an adult there with the dog, or they're left unattended completely. I mean, obviously, leaving them completely unattended would be totally irresponsible and a daft thing to do. But even if the dog can get to the child, even when adults are present, it's really not very sensible at all.
So what should you do to introduce a new baby in the house with a dog?
What you should do is to, preferably if we go back to a time when perhaps there's no baby and no dog in the household, the advice is normally to have the child first, let the child grow up a little bit, and then bring a puppy in, so that the puppy then gets used to the child right from the word go. But if you want to bring in an adult dog or a rescue dog, then preferably know the background of that dog and find out whether it's been used to having children around, and make sure that they are at a reasonable distance from each other. Have a baby gate, whatever barrier you need to make sure that the dog can't actually reach the child until the dog becomes accustomed to the sights and sounds and smells of a new baby.
And what I was reading about bringing back blankets from the hospital that the baby potentially had been wrapped in, so that the dog is getting used to the smell, and that when this bundle of energy comes home, it's not completely alien to the dog.
I think that's very sensible as well. I mean, you would still be extremely careful of the introduction, but anything like that is very sensible, simply because then the dog gets used to the whole idea. I mean, this is a very stressful thing for a dog. Obviously, this is a hugely tragic incident as far as the people are concerned, but avoiding it is actually the most important thing. And what we shouldn't be saying is that dogs shouldn't be anywhere near little babies, that, we shouldn't have them in the household, because then children aren't growing up with dogs and they can have fantastic relationships. It's just a question of safety first.
And animals can teach children respect, can they not? But presumably also dogs can be very protective of children.
They can indeed, and that relationship can be something very, very precious. I mean, many of us have grown up around dogs from a very young age and had no problems at all. But it is about making sure that the dogs are safely kept away from the children, and the children are safely kept at bay from the dogs, to make sure that everybody's used to each other before they are given close quarters contact. And that's true of any breed. It doesn't matter what sort of dog it is.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.